Today we're going to be making this Valentine's Day inspired wall hanging. If that's your jam, subscribe and hit the bell notifications. To get started, we're going to be tying all 16 cords using a lark's head knot on our wooden dowel. Next, we're going to tie square knots and go straight across the entire row. As always, I invite you to go check out my knot tutorial playlist if you are unfamiliar with your knots. Otherwise, I'm just going to speed on right through. Okay, so for our second row, we're going to alternate our square knot. So you drop the first 2 cords and then you work with the next 4. I'll keep the first knot in real time so you can see what I mean. Okay, so let's motor through this next row. And for our third row, we are going to alternate our square knot again and go straight across. So far this gives us 3 rows of alternating square knots. Okay, so I'm just going to move the first 10 cords out of the way and the last 10 cords, and we're going to work with the 12 center cords. Moving the cords out of the way makes it a little visually easier to see. But what we're doing is more alternating square knots, and this is going to be the center part of our heart shape. Okay, so let's bring down our cords and we're going to be working on the side of our heart. So this part is a little confusing. So we're going to continue to alternate our square knot, but we're going to do 5 rows with 1 square knot on each row. Don't worry, I'll keep the majority of this in real time so that I know you'll get it. Okay, we're on our second row and we're just going to tie a square knot using the first 4 cords. Moving along to our third row, we skip the first 2 cords and then work with the next 4 cords, which alternates our square knot. So to reiterate, we're only doing 1 square knot per row and we're still alternating them. Okay, same thing for our 5th knot here. Okay, now that we have all 5 rows done, we're going to increase the following 5 rows by 1 square knot. I will show you exactly what I mean. We will be taking cords from the center of our heart portion now. So for this row, we will have 2 square knots. And of course, we're still alternating, so we're going to tie another 2 square knots. Okay, I sure hope you're following me here. I'm gonna just speed right through now. Now that we've reached the center, we're gonna do the other half of the heart. So of course, this is exactly like it was on the first side here, so I am just gonna zip right through. Now I'm going to do 2 more rows of alternating square knots. This completes our first heart, and we're going to repeat the exact same pattern below. I've already asked this on Instagram, but I'm curious, do you all celebrate Valentine's Day too? I personally adore Valentine's Day. Even when I'm single, I still tend to celebrate it. What would be your ideal Valentine's Day date? This year we're planning to go to the movies and then have dinner at home. I'll be in charge of dinner and he'll be in charge of dessert. We aren't doing anything too extravagant this year, but I'm okay with that. A quiet night at home is always nice. Actually, a lot of the time I like to stay home. Okay, we're just about done our second heart. Don't forget to end it with 2 rows of alternating square knots. That way it keeps our heart together. Okay, so I didn't want our project to end abruptly, so I decided to taper our square knots off into a V-shaped pattern. If you wanted to, you could leave it as it is, but I would suggest maybe doing a couple more rows of alternating square knots. But for me, I kind of like the congruency of the pointed shape. Okay, so now I'm going to finish off the point with some double half hitches. Don't forget to check out my knot tutorial playlist if I go too fast for you here. I really wish I could keep this in real time for you, but my video would end up being about an hour long. But I was thinking about doing a live workshop. If you are interested, just let me know in the comments below. Okay, so I'm just going to motor along with our double half hitches and then carry on with the other side and join the 2 lead cords in the center. Now if you wanted to, you could leave this project as is, but I decided to be extra and we're going to add some yarn. Now I'm not gonna lie, this portion of the tutorial is a little bit tricky. I highly recommend that you go check out my mini macrame tutorial. It's an easier tutorial to follow along if you're unfamiliar with their vertical double half hitches. And I do recommend some practice. This knot can get frustrating, especially when you're filling in a center like this. Another option though is that you can always do some weaving. Some roving would look really nice in this. Okay, so I'm going to quicken the pace here. And then I'm going to slow down to demonstrate the reverse direction. Okay, so the key thing to remember is that your yarn is always going to be on the side of the direction that you're going. Because I am now working from right to left, my yarn is going to be on the left side. And always keep your yarn behind the vertical lead cords. I'm just going to keep this one in real time for you so you see what I mean. Okay, let's carry on. So for this pattern, I found it easier to fill in the top portion of the heart first. So let's just quickly finish this half. Now that we have the top half of our hearts filled, let's carry on to the very bottom. And then of course we're going to do the same thing to the bottom heart. and it should look something like this. I thought I'd take a moment and show you how I clean up the back side of the project. Now the proper way is to be weaving your ends in, but I didn't do that. The texture of this yarn was too fluffy to weave, so I decided to tie it in a knot. Now there's nothing wrong with this method, but if you want to do it the more professional way, weaving is the way to go. And now we trim up the tail ends. I like to give it a rough chop at first, and then I comb out the fringe, and then once it's all combed out, then I give it another trim. If you have any project requests, please leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. Also, here are 2 more videos I think you'll enjoy. I'll see you over there.